Good evening to our viewers here in Kenya and around the world. Welcome to a comprehensive bulletin this Saturday night. It is the 11th of July 2020. The number of coronavirus globally now hit 12.5 million, with over 550,000 people succumbing from this deadly virus. Also, we'll be giving you details of the Kenya's daily update on coronavirus. But just before then, calls for parents to take personal responsibility in raising their children reverberated this day that most leaders, especially women leaders, came out to speak about the increasing cases of teenage pregnancies. Also, today, Kenya joined the rest of the world in marking World Population Day, and of course the theme also being protection of women and girls. We'll also be giving you details of that and much more. Welcome to this broadcast. Let's now get the latest numbers in the country, where in the last 24 hours from about 1,403 samples, 278 people were confirmed positive for coronavirus and 99 discharged from various hospitals across the country. The number of fatalities continues to rise as 3 more people lost their lives from this deadly virus. And now, so far, 4 months on, 207,987 is the number of samples thus far tested, and the confirmed cases almost the country, the cases nearing the 10,000 mark after an additional 278 cases. Now we stand at 9,726 confirmed cases of coronavirus in the country. The number of people that have been discharged to go home after testing at least negative at least twice stand at 2,832, and those who have lost their lives this far, 184. Indeed, quite a huge number. And just a day after the country witnessed its first fatality of a medical officer, now doctors are coming out to really say protection or safety for healthcare workers is not even, it's the minimum thing they can ask for, and urging the government to come out of. Of course, there have been issues to do with substandard personal protective equipment. We'll also be giving you details of that at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. The hashtag to use is Channel 1 Weekend. Also, feel free to tell us where you're watching us from. Here are the highlights.
"278 people have tested positive for the virus, bringing the total number of cases in the country to 9,726.
Coronavirus cases in Kenya nearing the 10,000 mark after 278 people test positive.
Any country or a nation is defined by its people and its territory. And it's important all the time that we manage our population, because that's our first resource that we have for development.
World Population Day celebrated amid concerns harmful practices against women and girls are derailing world development. And hundreds of families in Museo, Kajiado West Sub-County are up in arms over a land-grabbing scheme to evict them from their ancestral land. Welcome to the broadcast. Byron Abuli is our sign language interpreter tonight, and my name is Purity Museo. Let's now get started. Coronavirus cases in Kenya near the 10,000 mark after 278 Kenyans tested positive for the virus in the last 24 hours. The country now has 9,726 confirmed cases of the virus, and the Minister of Health is urging medics to be more vigilant and careful when dealing with patients to avoid exposing themselves and their families to the virus. The latest confirmation came from 1,403 samples tested, with 3 more people succumbing to the virus, bringing 284 number of fatalities so far recorded in almost 4 months now. Doctors in the country are decrying what they allege is neglect, despite being frontline workers in the fight against coronavirus. Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentist Union, KMPDU, is calling on the government to put in place more measures to protect medics handling patients.
As we speak, the healthcare workers are still not well protected. And number two, the issues of compensation need to be very clear, and the issues of hospital bills.
While mourning Dr. Doreen Lugaliki, a medic who died on Friday morning at Aga Khan Hospital, Nairobi, KMPDU said that occupational safety as well as the health of frontline health workers remains a non-negotiable minimum.
Government equally has a responsibility of ensuring that the safety, welfare, health, terms and conditions of work.
Speaking during daily COVID-19 briefing that was held in Kwale on Saturday, Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Mercy Mwangangi acknowledged that the deadly virus posed a greater risk to healthcare providers, but guaranteed government support.
As a government, we stand very firmly with the healthcare workers, and that is why we have gone ahead to ensure that we have done capacity building, provided personal protective equipment, and continuously give them moral and psychosocial support as they fight this pandemic.
Health CAS also announced that the country had recorded 278 coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours from a sample size of 1,403.
Nairobi continues to lead with 5,350 cases, followed by Mombasa with 1,722 cases. If we have to overcome this virus, you must not relax in this fight. We therefore urge you to strictly adhere to the infection prevention control measures, and we've said it time and time again. Let us wash our hands with soap and water. Let us maintain physical distance. Let us wear masks and ensure these masks are worn in all public places at all times. Let us resist the habit of gathering around. 3 more patients had succumbed to the virus over a similar period, bringing the death toll to 184, with 99 people discharged in the last 24 hours. The total number of recoveries now stands at 2,832, almost 4 months now since the country reported its first case. Harmful practices against women and girls remain the biggest challenge towards attaining world development. National Council for Population and Development says the menace has been exacerbated by the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the country now recording many cases of gender-based violence, female genital mutilation and other harmful practices, mainly disenfranchising female folk. The revelation came as the globe marks World Population Day under the theme Putting Brakes on COVID-19, How to Safeguard the Health and Rights of Women and Girls.
As the country joins the globe in celebrating the World Population Day, dedicated to creating awareness on the population issues and advocating new policies going forward, harmful practices against women and girls, such as female genital mutilation, child marriage leading to motherhood in childhood, gender-based violence, son preference, among other ill practices, have continuously affected women and girls advancing their progress.
Any country or any nation is defined by its people and its territory. And it's important all the time that we manage our population, because that's our first resource that we have for development. So what today we're looking at issues that affect our population. And one of the things that affect our population is we call it harmful practices, issues to do with gender-based violence.
The matters have been made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has grounded many in their homes and left millions jobless, hence frustrations that are being blamed for the many social ills.
If we are able to change our way of doing business the last few months, that we are no longer, it's no longer a strange practice, that we can say hi to each other without necessarily shaking hands, that we can put on this mask however uncomfortable they may be. If we are able to cope and manage this, Why not that?
In trying to reflect on these challenges, this year's World Population Day was framed on curbing the vice under the theme, Putting the Brakes on COVID-19, how to safeguard the health and rights of women and girls.
I think what has been a gap has been the difference between policy, implementation, and ownership by the community. Now, right now, it is obvious. This is not something that government will do for us. This is something we have to all do together.
In Kenya, cases of GBV are said to have increased by 33% in March and 50% in June, all tied to the coronavirus pandemic.
The challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic offers also a huge opportunity to get to zero new cases of gender-based violence through enhanced multi-sectoral coordination and the partnership.
With the menace deeply rooted in the society, social agencies are now calling for enhanced strategies such as community engagement and empowerment towards zero harmful practices.
What government needs to do is to ensure that these policies, as well at national level, are owned by county level officials and they are also subjugated to community level structures. It has to go all the way down, and it must be owned by the people for the solutions to be sustainable.
If we can eradicate FGM, we will end the scourge of child marriage. We will start allowing girls to achieve their full human potential, and then the primacy of those 3 zeros of zero preventable maternal deaths, zero unmet needs of family planning, zero gender-based violence will start taking shape.
Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
And Ras Bashir, you're watching at 40 Jesus Busia, Mwiti Mithika, Ready and Steady, Locked Outer Pangani. Grace Atieno, you're watching from Kakamega County, and Max Ule Mprezo, you're also watching Channel 1 Weekend. Saidi Peter, COVID-19 is real. Let's keep social distance. Put on the masks in public places. Joshua Munguru Ishmael, you're also watching from Kisii, Nyatieko. Tell us where you're watching us from, and of course you can even bring forth your feedback regarding any report of your choice, and I'll be sampling your feedback during and before the till end of the broadcast at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. The hashtag to use is Channel 1 Weekend, and parents have been challenged to take up their roles seriously in a bid to end early marriages and teenage pregnancies during the long school holiday occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuri Atani says parents are better placed to provide care to their children. This as nominated Senator Gertrude Musuruve called for the setting up for a special kitty for teenage persons living with disabilities.
According to the Kenya Health System report, 151,433 teenagers have been impregnated between the month of January and May this year, down from last year's 175,488 reported cases. School-going children are reportedly the most affected. This follows long holiday following the closure of learning institutions amid COVID-19 pandemic. Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukuri Atani wants parents to take up guidance mandate in ending the vice.
A number of times the parents are so desperate for the schools to be open, not because they want the children to learn, but because they are afraid or maybe they are scared of the additional responsibilities, which will not be the case.
While in Nairobi, Yatani said the government is implementing measures in safeguarding the children.
If we all take our responsibility seriously, we'll have a healthy nation, we'll have a responsible nation, we'll have a prosperous nation.
Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman says the country needs to embrace multi-sectoral approach and engage the youth from early pregnancies.
We need to engage communities, teachers, parents, and adolescents themselves as agents of change to end teenage pregnancy.
This, as nominated Senator Gertrude Musuruve calls on the government to set up a special kitty for teenage persons living with disabilities. According to Musuruve, most of the vulnerable persons have disadvantaged family backgrounds.
supporting them in terms of food, in terms of basic needs, and in terms of physiotherapy, because there are some children also with developmental issues.
According to leaders, concerted efforts will end early pregnancies among teenagers. Parents are told to put it in black and white on the conversations on the same. The places of worship are expected to provide guidance as they reopen amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1 in the county of Nairobi.
Right, and I would ask you regarding that report by my colleague Irene Muchuma Odim, whether parents should be responsible, take responsibility. In other words, should they be the ones to blame on the increasing or rising cases of teenage pregnancies in the country? Tell us at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. Channel 1 Weekend is our hashtag tonight. Let's now take a first commercial break. Don't go too far. We still have plenty more to come. Stay with us.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
My friend, yani wewe unajua kutime sana. Unangoja wakati tu nimekaa kwa nyumba peke yangu pole pole, nimenaosha mkono nikule nyama yangu, saizi ndio unanipigia simu. Ulikuwa wapi wakati nilikuwa kwa duka huko naenda kutafuta unga nikuje nipike ugali?
Kupata unajua kutime sana, bonyeza *811 *815 hash. Bonyeza *811 *815 hash.
Utafanya hivi, itabidi hata wewe umengoja.
Next on.
Ngoja niulize jamaa, nani hapa hivi amepimwa hivi majuzi?
Para kwa Mwangi, si ni 10 bob.
Sijasema kupimwa weight. Saa hizi kupimwa HIV ni haraka na ni bure.
Hii kwenye mkulima.
Kitu kama kilimo ni kitu kila boma inahitaji. Lazima tuweze kulima kitu kidogo at least ndio tuweze kunufaisha maisha yetu.
Uko na HIV si eti ni mwisho.
Wewe uko nayo?
Mimi nilishapima.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue. This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
It's interesting that homeschooling is now a byword, but I have homeschooled for a number of years, and I am an educationist.
We decided we will homeschool. When we start a family and get children, we said this is something we'd like to do. And that's what we did.
Even that curriculum matters. What you're teaching the children matters because it's forming their worldview, how you're approaching the lessons.
I am grateful that our society and God has provided opportunities for those who want to pursue things like homeschooling to do it.
Found reading to be a very critical way to grow the language of our kids, and it's about giving them the tools for learning.
You're watching Channel 1 Weekend. Thank you for staying with us. Hundreds of families in Waso, Kajiado West, Sub-County, Kajiado County are up in arms over a land-grabbing scheme to shortchange them of their ancestral land. The Maasai natives and Kitet Maasai community residing at a disputed 4,500 acres of land now fear a possible eviction by a group they claim is a cartel. They are now calling on the Director of Criminal Investigations and other concerned stakeholders to intervene in resolving the dispute they term a classic example of historic land injustice.
The land row pitting hundreds of residents in Waso, Kajiado West Sub-County and alleged cartels is far from over, with residents claiming there is a plot to evict them from their ancestral land.
Mimi kwa zaidi mwaka 70 Sisi bado wana mtu yote hapa. Ile sisi walikuwa najua sinajua Kidong. Sisi walikuwa napakana na Kidong. Na isha bangine najua na Sore. Sisi bado wana mtu mwingine. Hata sisi nashangaa kusema ati iko mtu ambao ati nasema shamba ni lake.
The Maasai natives under Kitet Maasai community residing at the disputed 4,500 acres revealed that the wars over the ancestral land which the community has been living began during the second phase of Ketrako compensation to pave way for electricity high must we live.
Nimesaliwa hapa na hatujui mtu mwingine unakuja kunyanyasa hapa kuchukua hati yetu bure bila kujua.
To the shock of the 90-40 native families who were already compensated for property and homes in 2018 along the Waylive, Ketrako has now said land compensation will be paid to the other 7 claimants.
They have acquired 16.8 million Waylive compensation from Ketrako, which is even a double compensation. Yes. They are again now preparing documents to acquire about 400 million. Yes.
Kajiado County Executive Committee in charge of land and physical planning, Hamilton Pasena, terms the dispute as a classic example of historical injustice, saying the land documents possessed by the individuals have been acquired fraudulently.
The land really belongs to them. We are made to understand that there are people who have acquired ownership documents, but I think the overriding factor is the people who have been on that land for all these years. And I would also wish to plead with the Ketrako that the compensation that they were to make should be withheld until the ownership dispute is determined.
Residents say the land documents have since gone missing even in the registrar of land, and those claiming to own the entire piece of land alleged they were allocated to them by the late former President Moi. Devastated residents claim to have been frustrated by the land's ministry and court as the land claimants intimidate them through proxy.
Sasa unafasaji Moi mwenyewe anapatiwa mtu mmoja shamba 1,400. Unawezekana? Sasa tunasema hatutaki mtu yoyote unakuja kusema hati yetu ni yao. Mtu umekuja kutoka Eldoret unakuja kusema hapa ni kwao.
The residents are now calling on the Director of Criminal Investigations and other concerned stakeholders to intervene in resolving the dispute they term a well-calculated scheme to rob them. Timothy Kipnusu, for Channel 1 News.
Before we have a look at the eye on the politics, I'll share Minaj on KBC Channel 1 Facebook page. You're watching from Dagoretti. David Sonia, you're also watching from Huruma Flats in Nairobi. And then Kama Kawaida, Disc Joka Sap, you're also watching Channel 1 Weekend. Marie Joseph, you're watching from Githurai 45. And then Marianne Chemu, you're watching from Kericho County. And Gilbert Kigan, you're also watching. I'll also be going through your tweets, so keep tweeting us at Channel 1 News and at Purity_Museo. Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi now says that Western Kenya can no longer play subordinate to anyone in the country's succession politics. Mudavadi argues that after 57 years of backing others, the region is yet to benefit from perennial political promises used to solicit their rich vote. Mudavadi spoke even as Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya led a different team for a meeting in Bungoma, saying the region cannot afford to be locked out of the government for another 5 years.
Musalia Mudavadi says that the Luhya community must speak in one voice and rise in support of progressive politics that work for the benefit of the region. The ANC leader, who was in Vihiga, said it is time the Luhya community got it right at the ballot.
Nende Turukana, Nende Coast, how do we get them if we are always here? Lazima mutu release, na nyinyi muwe ambassadors wakali hapa. Muwe gangari huku, back, defenders. Na sisi tuende kufunga mabao huko nje. Hapo ndio tutashinda.
Juzi wameitana kule Kajiado. Sasa ile kiti alisema Musalia achukue ya Kingpin, amegawanya marapila, amepatia watu wawili. Meaning Eugene plus Oparanya ndio wako equal to Musalia.
Governor Wycliffe Oparanya and Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, who were recently enthroned to steer the region's development agenda, were in Bungoma and denied using the role to play divisive politics.
And we agreed, me and Eugene Wamalwa, unite this leader and we move forward. It had nothing to do with Luya kingdom, Luya gatekeeper, Luya nini. Governor Oparanya amesema kule Kitale ya kwamba we are not interested in the issue ya kuwa spokesman or Luya. We have a bigger agenda.
They said those who have refused to team up with them want to use the community as a bargaining chip for selfish political ends. They, in the meantime, called on the community to be champions of anti-COVID-19 campaign, saying the lifting of travel restrictions may prove a litmus test to health systems in the region. For Channel 1 News, I am Edward Kabasa.
And away from western region to the eastern side of Kenya, a teacher at Ngumbwa Primary School located at the border of Kitui and Tana River counties has transformed the face of a remote school to an ultra-modern facility using his own resources. Teacher Peter Mwema says he was sponsored by a non-governmental organization that helped him change the face of the depleted school. Parents from the area have lauded his efforts, saying their children can now enjoy the comfort of a habitable learning environment.
This is the new face of Ngumbwa Primary School, located at the border of Kitui and Tana River counties. Through the efforts of teacher Peter Mwema, the pupils now have a better environment for learning. Teacher Peter Mwema was deployed at Ngumbwa Primary School in September 2018 as the acting head teacher when the school was in a sorry state. The teacher says he got sponsorship from Jai Shri Ram organization, the education development project worth 16 million shillings, where he built 7 classrooms, 10 toilets and a borehole.
Watoto hawa walikuwa wanasomea wengine kwa miti huku na wengine unapata wanakaa kwa michanga.
Ndio Idhuka, a parent, lauded the teacher for the good work, saying his posting to the area was God sent.
Wengi walikuwa wanasomesha watoto katika shule jirani, lakini siku hizi mwaka huu wa 2020, mwaka wa 2019 walirudisha watoto wao hapa kwa sababu tumepata madarasa.
Unajua huko kwetu ni maskini sana, watu hawana kazi. Sasa pesa ya kupata ili waweze kujenga hii shule ilikuwa na shida sana. Lakini mwalimu alipokuja sisi tukawa na furaha sana kumuona kwa vile alikuwa na malengo yake.
Elsewhere, Wajir County government is warning officials selling relief food meant for vulnerable families in the region of dire consequences. Wajir Governor Ambassador Muhammad Abdi Muhammad at the same time directed ward administration officers to remain vigilant and ensure the donations get to the right people. Wajir County government has embarked on an exercise to cushion vulnerable families in all its 30 wards from the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. So far, the county government has donated 220 tons of relief food worth 28 million shillings to vulnerable groups.
Devastating effects on the economy, and our county is not an exception. My government, therefore, continues with its strategies to cushion our people from the effects of the pandemic.
Speaking when he flagged off COVID-19 relief food, Wajir Governor Ambassador Muhammad Abdi Muhammad put on the spot officials selling aid meant for the vulnerable communities.
Any reports on loss or sale of relief food by anybody, whether a staff or community member, will not be condoned and will be met with the full force of the law.
There was serious incomes which have been affected, particularly on those cadres of society. And I thank you very much for having listened to the plight of those teachers. And today I can see you are flagging up a food consignment to those teachers, particularly those who are in the outskirts. This is your third consignment, as I've been told. So this is a great exception. Thank you very much for the governor for having taken that initiative. And I'm really happy for it.
Elsewhere, the COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund Board has donated 80,000 face masks to be distributed to residents in the coastal region in a bid to combat coronavirus. The reusable masks were handed over to the Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata by Dr. James Mwangi, a member of the COVID-19 board at Uhuru Nakazi building. Elungata said security agencies will continue enforcing mandatory wearing of face masks while in public places to help reduce the spread of COVID-19.
Hii itasaidia kwa sababu watu wa Mombasa na watu wa pwani kwa ujumla, kwa sababu tatizo hili lilikuwa limekithiri hapa sana, wameelewa ni kitu gani tunapigana nacho. Na sasa haitakuwa vigumu wao kuanza kutumia mask kama vile inahitajika na Wizara ya Afya.
I believe medical doctors who we are protecting with the PPEs are the second line of defense. The first line of defense is the individual themselves. And this token is to demonstrate to the citizens the importance of wearing a face mask, the importance of social distancing, the way we have done here.
In Nakuru, some 300 people recovering from drugs and substance abuse at Kanyon slums received face masks from Nakada in a bid to scale up control measures for the COVID-19 disease among vulnerable groups. Coordinating the exercise that was marked with COVID-19 sensitization messages, Nakuru Drop-In Center Director Catherine Boyani said the partnership seeks to map out clusters of vulnerable people living in slums across Nakuru town to empower them with information against the pandemic.
Nashukuru, tunasema ni asanti kwa sababu ya government kuweza kutusupport, kwa sababu wengine wetu hatukuwa na uwezo wa mask.
Nimeshukuru hii nini ya Nakada kwa vile mmetusponsor na hizi vitu. Tumekuwa na shida kupata hizi vitu, kwa sababu tunaenda kununua pale unaitusha 50, hata una 50, hata hujapata ya unga.
Your tweets at Kevin Mungai. Kenyans must know that despite the country borders being lifted, COVID-19 is still real. Everyone should take caution. It's Kevin Mungai from Thika. And Edison Mwas, you tuned in from Mombasa County. Thank you. We have MC Odongo, you're saying you're watching. You are Collins watching from Kitengela. Mikindani, Mombasa, Edgar Elirot, that's where you're watching Channel 1 Weekend from. And at Bokosa, you tuned in from Nairobi CBD. All right. Thank you so much. Ben Mark, you also watching Channel 1 Weekend. Keep tweeting. I'll be going through them. And of course, feel free to also interact with us and share with us your thoughts and feedback regarding just any report of your choice. Today, the country joined the world in marking the World Population Day, and of course, the theme being on the protection of women and girls, and the cases of teenage pregnancies being on the rise, and now calls that parents should take responsibility and provide care for their young ones. We are asking you whether the parents should be the ones being blamed for all these increasing cases of teenage pregnancies, and what are some of the possible solutions, all right? From other news making headlines around the country, a section of religious leaders in Thika, Kiambu County, is urging the government to relax congregational worship rules. The church leaders say some of the requirements announced by the Interfaith Council, such as age limits, are not practical.
From Tuesday next week, places of worship will be open to not more than 100 people at a time, and they should be between 13 and 58 years old. It is this age limit that is unsettling a section of the clergy who feel operations will be crippled.
Ni wale wazee walika yangu wa 58 years wanasemekana wasiende kanisani. Hiyo ni kusema pastor na bishop hawafai kwenda kanisa kwa sababu hiyo miaka ni ya wahubiri.
Ningetaka kuuliza serikali mambo ya miaka 58 hiyo haigiani sana. Tungetaka kuuliza sababu kuna watu wengi sana ambao hawa ndio sasa wako na anointing ile karikari, na hawa ndio wanatufunza, hawa ndio wanatuachia kazi. Tungetaka muanze na miaka 70.
Meanwhile, members of the County Assembly of Kericho have ordered the county government of Kisumu to keep off nuclear sugar estate in Muhoroni, saying that the land belongs to the county government of Kericho.
Kisumu County coming and drilling water, coming and building ECD centers, coming and licensing shops. That is incitement of the highest order.
Elsewhere, Huduma centers are set to reopen next week and will operate within normal work hours.
So to begin with, we are going to start with the 5-day work, 8 to 5, make sure there's social distancing, and then we arrange the shift workers so that some people can work early in the morning and others can come in to ensure that there is no unnecessary exposure.
And the government has allocated 1.4 billion shillings towards upgrading Kisumu city sanitization system.
The level of access to clean water, we have the urban figures that stand at about 67%, and also rural figures stand at about 38%. We intend to increase each one of them.
In the meantime, about 600 people living in a cemetery in Kamugoi village, Embu East Sub-County, are appealing to the government to relocate them and also provide them with basic needs.
Hii watu wangu nataka wasaidiwe kwa maana wako na sinda, hata nyumba ni za makoton, ile nyingine haina, so ni za gunia.
And 2 members of Garissa County Assembly are accusing some powerful personalities from the region of pushing for nullification of the recent appointment of chiefs and their assistants.
Competence and experience was considered highly. We thank the government. We will continue to work with the government. We urge area residents to work with the chiefs and assistant chiefs and to cooperate with them.
Finally, a female police officer in Malaa Police Station, Navaholo Sub-County, Kakamega County, is going beyond the call of duty to offer assistance to victims of domestic violence in the region.
Kwa wale wanadhulumiwa, na waomba wajitokeze, waseme, tuwasaidie.
Na tunataka sheria ifanyike, ichukue mkondo wake na ifanyike haraka kwa sababu huyu mama tunataka apate justice.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Timothy Kipnoso.
So demonstrations continued for a second day today in Mali, with protesters occupying the national broadcaster. Yes, the national broadcaster. We will tell you why that is happening in Mali when we return from this short, the second but very short commercial break. Do stay with us.
Nairobi City has experienced a tremendous transformation in water provision as part of the war against the spread of coronavirus.
Tangu tanki letu hapa nyuma yangu nimefaidika sana.
93 boreholes in 3 months.
We had quick interventions.
We had water drilled, sunk, running out in a record 2 weeks.
We have over 14 million liters per day that has been brought into the informal settlements.
Find out what this means to livelihoods and the war against the COVID-19 pandemic. A Chams Media production this Sunday at 6 p.m. on KBC.
People who choose to read their Bible daily, they become wiser and they become stronger than the people who don't read their Bibles. So when you choose hard, difficult things, you become a natural leader. He brings us to church to introduce to us another higher level of relationship that is called a faith relationship. You are also a solution to somebody else's problem. You cannot be the only problem all the time.
Join Pastor Jimmy Masharia on The Master's Touch this Sunday from 8 a.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Once again, I thank you for staying with us. Popular Ohangla musician Maureen Acheng, commonly known as Lady Maureen, is dead. The singer died on Saturday morning in Uriri, Migori County, where she had been recuperating after she was discharged from hospital. ODM leader Raila Odinga on Saturday paid tribute to the late songstress, describing her as an immensely talented and very dynamic musician who always adapted to new trends in a very competitive music industry.
In her prime, Lady Maureen was described as the queen of Ohangla, a low music genre that has become popular among many Kenyans. But on Saturday morning, the sun set on the life and career of the Luo music icon.
Mungu alimuumba kwa tumbo yangu, sikujua nitazaa mtu gani, lakini kwa mapenzi ya Mungu ndiye alinipatia mtoto, akawa superpower, akawa queen of Ohangla kwa niseme East Africa. Imbo yake imeenda hata Amerika, hata mawapi.
Lady Maureen, who has in the last couple of months been in and out of hospital, passed on in Migori County. The news of her demise was met with reactions from all and sundry, among them ODM leader Raila Odinga. On his Twitter account, the ODM leader described the late musician as an immensely talented and very dynamic musician who always adapted to new trends in a very competitive music industry. Lady Maureen will be remembered for her tunes such as Alemo, Jogi Jokuoge, Raila, God Kogalo, and a final studio recording called Abiro Iri Nyasai, which loosely translates to I am coming to you, Lord.
Lady Maureen was not just any other artist, she was the queen of Ohangla, and most of these artists right now have passed through her hands, from Emma Jalamo, all these big artists, and Kevo Makawili, Benija Chiga, the late. This is the mother of Ohangla. She's the queen, and therefore losing her is a big loss for all of us and Kenya at large, both locally and globally in the diaspora.
Her demise comes barely a month after the death of another popular Ohangla musician, Benija Chiga.
Rest well, Lady Maureen. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani is calling for big gatherings such as weddings and wakes to be banned to stem a rise in coronavirus infections, but insists the country's economy has to stay open. Rouhani and other officials have blamed the rise in infections partly on wedding parties and other public gatherings.
Iran has been gradually relaxing its lockdown since mid-April, but has recently reported a sharp rise in coronavirus infection rate. President Hassan Rouhani says it cannot afford to shut down its hard-hit economy, even as the Middle East's deadliest coronavirus outbreak worsens with record-high death tolls and rising infections. The death toll on Saturday rose by 188 over the previous 24 hours to 12,635. Meanwhile, India has seen its biggest spike in COVID-19 cases of the past 24 hours, with more than 27,000 reported. But India's Ministry of Health says the recovery rate is improving and currently stands at 62%. In the United States, the number of daily coronavirus cases reached a new high, with more than 63,000 infections confirmed on Friday. A further 774 people have died. There are 29 states that have seen an increase in week-on-week cases. And Brazil's coronavirus death toll has now surpassed 70,000, with 1,200 further deaths in the past 24 hours. After the United States, it has the second highest number of deaths and infections in the world. Globally, the number of cases has passed 12.5 million, with more than 560,000 deaths.
Demonstrations in Mali continued for a second consecutive day as protesters occupied the national broadcaster. Elsewhere, a 44-year-old woman in Zimbabwe is battling to avoid a mastectomy after her breast cancer treatment abruptly ended when the only radiotherapy machine in the capital, Harare, stopped working.
Cancer continues to pose a health challenge across the globe. A patient in the capital of Zimbabwe, Harare, is frustrated. Tendai Gwata, a marketing consultant by profession, had already confirmed she had stage 3 breast cancer and it had spread to her armpit. She was, however, told a mastectomy is the only option after the only radiotherapy machine broke down. Zimbabwe's health sector has largely collapsed amidst an economic crisis that has seen inflation soaring to 785% and a severe shortage of cash. And in Mali, protesters occupied the national broadcaster for the second consecutive day demanding reforms. Opposition supporters had also tried to break into the National Assembly and force the state broadcaster off air during large demonstrations in the capital, Bamako. Police fired shots and used tear gas to disperse the demonstrators. This is the third rally in a month demanding that President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta steps down. There is a disconnect over a long-running jihadist conflict, an economic crisis, and a disputed legislative election. A new opposition coalition led by the conservative Imam Mahmoud Diko this week said it had dropped its demand for President Keïta to resign but still insists on further reforms after rejecting concessions from the Malian president, including the formation of a unity government. Elsewhere in the United States of America, U.S. President Donald Trump has commuted the prison sentence of his former advisor, Roger Stone. The announcement came just after the Washington, D.C. Court of Appeal denied Stone's request to delay the start date of his custodial term of 40 months. He was convicted of lying to Congress, obstruction, and witness tampering. Stone was the sixth Trump aide found guilty on charges linked to a Justice Department probe that alleged Russia tried to boost the Trump 2016 campaign. The 67-year-old had been due to report to a federal prison in Jesup, Georgia next Tuesday and celebrated the latest development with supporters outside his home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Let's now have a look at some sports. Nairobi Boxing Association Chairman Kennedy Otieno is optimistic that all sporting activities within the country will resume once the government is through with its collection of the views being conducted by the Sports Ministry. Otieno said that resumption of sports will help sportsmen and women to sustain their lives after a tough season following the suspension of sports due to coronavirus.
A day after Sports Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohammed announced plans for resumption of sports within the country, Nairobi Boxing Association Chairman Kennedy Otieno has echoed the CES remarks and expressed optimism that all sportsmen and women will be back to action.
What I'll add to tell the government is that we sport people, we are suffering. We are suffering. We are really suffering because sometimes sport is our daily activities, and it's daily event for us, and it's also where we get our money. So we can urge the government to let them bring the sport back, and then see what to do. We can take the precautions of the COVID measures, like you've seen the gym here. We have everything. We have where we wash our hands, we have the sanitizing, we have the booth, we keep the distance. So if we can do that, it will be better for us.
Otieno said that different boxers drawn from Nairobi have experienced tough financial times and hope for an immediate resumption of sports that will help them sustain their daily lives.
We've been paying rent for people until kulipa rent imekuwa kazi. You see that? And you are paying rent and you don't have that money. So inabidi pia wewe ulale njaa kidogo ndio usaidiane. Are you getting my point? Hawana kazi, no movement. So imekuwa ni challenge. I used to have many boxers training people here, the personal training thing. So they used to get something. So gym hakuna client hawakuji.
Sports Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohammed is set to make a final decision on whether to resume sporting activities or not next week after receiving a report from her advisory committee. Frederick Moki for Channel 1 Sports.
110 questions will be available for athletes in the Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya ADAC e-learning program that was launched this week. Athletes will be required to complete 3 modules that consist of 9 topics. ADAC CEO Jafta Rugut has said that the agency targets to educate 100,000 sportsmen and women by the end of this year in a move geared towards curbing the use of prohibited substances in sports.
These are expectations. Ni matarajio. Na ni matarajio pia ambayo yako kwa mafunzo. Na nimesema kwamba ukiweko kwa registered testing pool. AIU wako na registered testing pool yao. Karibu wanariadha 90 kutoka Kenya ambayo wako kwa registered testing pool ya AIU, Athletics Integrity Unit. Sisi tuko na registered testing pool yetu ambayo iko na wanaspoti 56. Na jambo la kwanza tunawafundisha ni mambo ya wearables. Uwe umeweka dirisha ya 1 hour per day. Utapatikana wapi? And if you are not found, usipopatikana hapo, you are dead. So uweze kukosa leo na ukose kesho na ukose siku nyingine 3 times, then the sanction applies. Na inafanyika hivyo.
And that brings us to the end of Channel 1 Weekend. Let me quickly go through your feedback on Twitter. Kevin Mungai, you saying that you're watching Channel 1 Weekend. And then we also have Edison Mwas, who is tuned in from Mombasa County. Someone else is watching. Okay, there's a question I'll answer before. And then Boniface Mwangi, you're also watching Channel 1 Weekend. Ben Mark, you're watching Channel 1 Weekend this night. There was also another feedback. Someone who was watching from Kitengela, Nairobi West. Also, Achuka Nyabuto, you are watching. And then Monange Brian, you're also watching Channel 1 Weekend. And then there is Susan Otieno, you're saying Channel 1 Weekend, best news ever. Thank you so much. So there is a question by Peter Otieno, who is asking, really, Purity, is it my fault when I contract coronavirus? All right. I really will not say it's your fault, but you can protect yourself from getting this virus because it's a virus whose vaccine is not yet developed. So the guidelines that have been provided by the Ministry of Health and also WHO have, WHO says that they have proven to prevent spread of coronavirus, and that includes that when you touch services like I have been doing, then don't touch your face, just go straight after doing what you're doing and wash your hands. Wash your hands even before you think of sanitizing. Put on the face masks, avoid touching your face, and also if you can avoid meeting a lot of people or social gatherings, then that could help. It is a virus 4 months in the country on, and also almost 7 months since the first case was reported. No vaccine has been developed, neither do the mode of transmission. Remember, this week the WHO acknowledged that the virus could be airborne after scientists proved that some droplets of this virus could stay in the air for some hours. So stay safe, put on your mask, avoid the social gatherings, and wash your hands. And let's pray that we are going to be safe. Thank you so much for watching Channel 1 Weekend this Saturday night. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. My name is Purity Museo, and Byron Abuli has been our sign language interpreter. You want to know how your Sunday and the week coming will be like. Irene Muchuma Odim is up next with the week's weather forecast. Stay tuned for that.
Good evening, a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. It's pounding over a few areas in the capital and central highlands. The Lake Basin region, western parts of the country, and the northwestern parts of the country are currently experiencing showers accompanied by thunderstorms. This as the northeastern parts of the country and southeastern lowlands are covered with scattered clouds, but that is not the scenario in Kwale, where there are wet conditions over a few places. Tomorrow, we'll wake up to a sunny and cloudy morning in the capital. Equally in Meru, there will be wet conditions in Nyeri over a few places. Lamu, Mombasa, and Malindi will experience showers over a few places. The northeastern parts of the country and southeastern lowlands will experience sunny conditions. It will rain in Eldoret, Kakamega, and Kitale, and also a few areas over the northwestern parts of the country. In the afternoon, we'll see showers accompanied by thunderstorms coming in over the western parts of the country, and this will also affect Nakuru and Narok. There'll also be wet conditions in Meru and Nyeri. The showers that will be experienced in the morning at the coastal strip will pave way to short sunny intervals, and then later on in the evening, there will be showers over several places. The northern parts of the country will mostly experience sunny conditions, similarly in the southeastern lowlands. Temperatures in the capital tonight stand at 13 degrees Celsius. The highest temperatures across the country will be experienced in Mandera and Lodwar at 35 degrees Celsius. And for you in Voi, expect maximum of 29 degrees Celsius for tomorrow. That's your weather here in the home country. Let's now cross the borders and see how it will be in other parts of the world. Rain or shine, keep warm and take care.
Vera Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
On the next episode of Corner.
Ya muhimu kwanza ni